Hi, welcome to Business Link, the Lincoln Chamber of Commerce's podcast about exciting things going on in Lincoln, Nebraska. I am Jason Ball, President and CEO of your Lincoln Chamber of Commerce, and we are here at the Lincoln Chamber of Commerce offices in the AOI Podcast Studio, have another exciting conversation about another business moving good things forward here in the community. And I am joined today by Stephanie Dinger, who is the Vice President of Small Business Banking at Union Bank and Trust. Stephanie, welcome.
Thanks for having me, Jason. Great to be here.
Stephanie, before we jump in, can you give our audience just a little bit of background about your history with Union Bank and
Sure.
Trust?
So I've been at Union Bank for 20 years.
Yeah.
I don't know how that's possible, but I started in the customer service area and really gained a lot of skills in customer service, but there was something missing and my husband's an entrepreneur and I saw what it was like to bank a small startup. And so really felt like I could use my assets in the small business banking area. So about 10 years ago, I joined the small business banking department, which really was nothing. So I was able to start a small business banking department at Union Bank about 10 years ago.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. And now that's grown into part of the redevelopment of the downtown bank location, which is now Union Bank Place. And it's the architecturally speaking, it's the IM Pay building in downtown Lincoln at 13th and O. Union Bank's done just a beautiful refurbishment of the main area in that building. Tell us what Union Bank has done with that main area and that main floor as people walk in.
Yeah. So when I first walked into it, after it was completely done, I said, it looks like a bougie hotel. So it doesn't feel like you're in a bank.
Yeah.
Most banks have secured entry where you can't get behind the teller line. There's you have to use your debit card to get in. And when you walk in, it's a very open space, totally redone to really look like the pillar of the downtown community. So we have a lot of exciting things there for Union Bank on that first floor. We, of course, have the teller station. So you can do all your business banking there, your personal banking. We have a mortgage officer. We have a coffee shop.
Yeah.
So a lot of people just come and they gather for coffee, socialize. They don't have anything to do with banking, which is really kind of fun. Just sit there and people watch. We also have what I'm really excited about is a pop-up shop. And what that is a space for entrepreneurs to run their business out of for a 4-month period. And I can talk a little bit more into detail about that in a little bit because can get really excited and I can take the whole time talking about that.
Yeah.
We also have a resource center. So it's a meeting space that people can reserve to host an offsite business meeting, host a client meeting, and it's for free. So you can reserve it online. And what we're really trying to do is provide free resources that can be beneficial to anyone, but specifically small businesses who don't have a big budget to be able to pay for some of that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, we'll get to some of that in a moment here, but I just want to pause and focus on the coffee shop for a second. Because I happened to be in there to meet with a client in another floor of the building and was on my way in. Beautiful sunny morning here in Lincoln, Nebraska in the fall. And, stop by this beautiful sunshiny area with the coffee shop in it. It feels like a coffee shop. It does not feel like what you would expect out of a traditional bank experience when you walk in. Why the switch? Why the more focus on a community space? What's the philosophy behind that? I'm curious.
Yeah. So Stories Coffee is the coffee shop in there, and they're a really cool, hip brand, local brand, which is really neat. And really, we wanted to make the downtown is really neat. Is a really a place that for a market like ours, a lot of people come to. There was really no space or no place that was offering anyone to come to and just meet. And I think that's what Union Bank has tried to do is be a space where you can get banking, you can get coffee, you can get food. There's a lot of businesses in the floors at Union Bank Place. And so people are coming in and out of that building all the time, but there's really no place to sit and gather and have meetings. So businesses on 2 through the top had to go to a coffee shop. And there's some great local coffee shops around that area. But I think it's really neat because if you go to that building 8 a.m., you really don't have to leave until you leave for the day. Yeah. And Union Bank being so focused on the Lincoln community and really a pillar of this community, really thought, let's make that investment to this special downtown that is housing to a lot of consumers as well as businesses. Let's make our footprint here. And I'm really proud. It feels dreamy. When people say, how do you like it? It feels dreamy to work down there because again, you can have lunch, you can have coffee, you can meet customers. Customers are excited to come to you. You're helping people build their dreams through what we're doing. So I'm proud of what the bank has done. A lot of banks have decided to move outside of downtown, and Union Bank went all in.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's a beautiful space. So I just encourage folks, if you haven't been in there, just come down to 13th and O and look at it. It'll be worth the trip. I promise. The other thing that occurs to me, and you've been out around the startup community long enough to know, we talk about collisions, right? Those unplanned meetings and introductions with other people in similar types of business, or maybe even very different types of business, where we can, connect with each other, learn from each other, maybe start a different kind of partnership that no one could have expected. And that's what when I look at the coffee shop space there, it's sort of like the bank is trying to bring a area where collisions happen back into it. Whereas for so many years, the startup community has kind of tried to move those collision events kind of elsewhere.
Yeah.
So it's really fun to see that approach there. I think it's a neat
That's a great
model.
way of articulating it. And that happened to me this morning. So I was meeting with a customer, saw two people. Hey, let's meet up. Let's connect. Haven't seen you for a while. And they were talking business and personal, but that was really neat to see. Yeah. And so I agree with you. I think that's a great way of stating it. The startup world is all about collisions. And that's really where I've enjoyed. I always went off site for my appointments with customers. And now people come to me. And that's been really fun. And I'm way more efficient that way too.
That's right. It saves you some drive time.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about the pop-up shop now. And this was kind of news to me, but so Union Bank is now kind of housing new and emerging small businesses. What's that look like?
Man, it gets me so excited. So one of the things when the bank said we were going to be the business hub of Union Bank downtown, what could we do to bring small business and excitement to this space? And so I ideated, and my husband's an entrepreneur with a marketing background, and I'm a banker, so I'm not super creative. And so we thought about all the things we could do. We talked about a podcast. We talked about a pop-up shop. And the one that kept resonating with me is a pop-up shop. So when I looked at my customers' biggest hurdles, what they said their obstacles were, it was we would love more customers. And I'm trying to decide if I want to take this idea and move it into a brick and mortar, but it's scary. It's expensive. So when we looked at the pop-up shop, I thought that is addressing both of those things. So I didn't actually think there was any way the bank was going to allow us to do this because that's fairly unique for a bank.
Yeah.
And so I submitted all the ideas. They came back and they said the pop-up shop won. So now go execute it. So we have our first tenant in there right now. And our goal is to have an entrepreneur office out of there, run their business out of there for a 4-month period. We think 4 months is a good amount of time to get in and get a routine. It's not too fast to just kind of think it's great for a month and then you hit the real world and it's like, whoa, I didn't go through that. So they can experience most things, hopefully. And they get to set their own hours. So when we looked at the first one, we thought, okay, how do we do this when we know we're going to have setbacks with construction and we don't know a lot of these unforeseen things? And so we worked with a partner that is helping so many wonderful businesses start and grow, Echo Collective.
Yeah.
Kelly Ross with Echo Collective is a wonderful advocate for the startup business community in Lincoln, and said, do you have someone you think would be interested in going into this space that might be looking for brick and mortar down the road, but would be very patient with us because this is new. We don't have it all figured out. Maybe 4 months isn't the right amount, but they would be gracious and work with us. And we really want it to be customers. So that's another selling point is we want to support our own customers and help them grow. So our first pop-up shop tenant is Bia Espinosa with Sousa's Sweets and Balloons. And it has been so neat to see her 2.5 months in, really from where she started to where she is now. It's honestly feels like a different business.
Yeah. And just to paint that picture just a little bit more for folks that maybe haven't experienced a pop-up shop before, it's not a tent or a temporary structure. This is a permanent part of the structure that's been added within Union Bank. And the idea is that every period of time, 3-4 months, whatever that ends up being, you'll be working with a different small business to come in. And so there's sort of a transitory nature to that. Talk to me more about that. Why these temporary arrangements for a pop-up shop, as opposed to, why not just have one small business there that's sort of there on a semi-permanent business? Why the
Sure.
transitional?
So our goal is, hopefully, as we help them with financial literacy and we help them understand what it takes to perhaps move from online or working from within their home to a more permanent place, helping them work through their financials, projections. So we really feel like we can be a value add.
Yeah.
So it's really a place where we're not looking for just someone to come sell their stuff. We want to be of service to them.
Yeah.
And so we've sat down and we've worked through, what are your current financials? What do you want to get to? What sort of lending might you need? And so we can really help them understand from the finance perspective. And at some point, hopefully, we get them to the point where they really don't need that support from us.
Yeah.
So not only are we helping them with the space, but we're helping them with the financial literacy and marketing. So we may have someone who comes in there who has done no marketing or has no idea even where to begin. Well, to hire an agency right off the bat can be fairly expensive. And you may not even know what to ask the agency's help with.
Yeah.
So our marketing team has committed to helping them with some basic marketing things if they need it. That, again, there's no cost for any of this. So we really can help them from the very ground level, get them built up, bolstered up to be able to go make a decision. It might not be brick and mortar, but they hopefully are learning things throughout the way just about stability within their business that can take them no matter what they decide to do.
I kind of look at this model as something that's a little bit like a business incubator or small business that's very, very targeted, right? Rather than working with, whatever, a dozen small businesses at one time. You're kind of hyper focusing on one business model, helping that person answer more questions and get some stability, and then growing to whatever the next step looks like.
Yeah.
So really, really innovative. Talk to me just a little bit about downtown. We talked about that before. I look at this building just in the location it's in, right off of P Street there. We're talking about a music corridor and a different look with DLA at the P Street corridor that they're doing some good work on. What's the unique nature of downtown right now, and where do you see downtown going in Lincoln's future?
I'm really excited about downtown. So I've been officing out of there for almost 10 years, and I've never felt this sort of excitement. And I don't know, part of it is just my personal excitement about all that's going on, because I believe downtown has had a lot of excitement in the last few years. So not just because of Union Bank Place, but I think it's just people are moving in to downtown. We brought 200 people down to the second floor of Union Bank Place from Pine Lake. And so you start seeing that. And I feel like there's more foot traffic downtown. There's just exciting. People stay after 5 o'clock. You see a lot of residents living down here. I said the other day, if I didn't have kids and want a little space out in the country, it'd be so fun to live downtown. I don't think it's convenient for our lifestyle with all of our animals and things we have, but like you can access so much. So grocery stores, there's just that has continued to evolve. And I don't really know that there's anything, if you're living downtown or working downtown, you really have to leave for and come back to. And I've just continued to see that grow. The entertainment, the music, the shows, the restaurants, that's continuing to grow. And so it's exciting. It's neat to be a part of that, such an integral part of that, and kind of that hub. It feels as though the hub of connecting. I appreciate all that Downtown Lincoln's doing. I've had the opportunity to be a board member for the last few years with them. So a lot of it, I think, is just awareness. The more we can help people understand that it's not always a parking issue, or there's not always things that you didn't see when you didn't live and work and interact so much. It felt intimidating. And I think the community's just done a lot of work to show it's really easy to be a participant and take part in a lot of the things going on down here.
Yeah. Lot of opportunity. I'm very bullish on the future of all of Lincoln's areas, but downtown in particular. I think we're going to see some more continued changes for the better in what that built environment looks like. This project is certainly very much part of that. Stephanie, thank you so much for being here today. Is there a place where people can go and learn more about what you're doing at Union Bank Place?
Yeah. So if you go to unionbank.com, you can just type in Union Bank Place, honestly. I always tell people, if you search Stephanie Dinger, Union Bank, you can find me in my red glasses. I'd be happy to help you find our pop-up shop application. So we are accepting applications right now for our next pop-up vendor. We also have some exciting things with some markets we're doing in the beginning of the year. We're going to be hosting a lot of events out of the space. So entrepreneurs, and we'll be doing more pop-up events. So you can check out all of that. We'll have soon, November 1st, we'll have a link to be able to reserve our office spaces, our meeting spaces down there.
Okay.
So if you type in Union Bank Place, you find me, you hit me up, I'll buy you a cup of coffee. But we'd love to host anyone down there. We're really proud of our space and what we have going on.
Fantastic. Stephanie, thank you so
Thanks
much
for having
joining
me.
us
This is
today.
wonderful.
This has been Stephanie Dinger and Jason Ball with the Lincoln Chambers Business Link podcast. You can find all of our episodes on lcoc.com, and you can subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you, and we'll talk to you again soon.